Aloha, aloha, aloha. Welcome to Legacy Initiation Paint. Really today we're gonna just get you started as far as finding a container and creating your art journal together. Really excited to welcome you, and Imagine Shiloh right here with me, welcoming you as well. But we just want to go ahead and get you started. That just first of all, by signing up, that you've already started, there's some energy that is already shifting. And I want you to be aware of that. And this is one of the next steps, that there's, yes, the saying, I want to do it, I'm going to do it, and then actually creating something into form, taking something out of your mind and putting it into creation. And that's part of what we'll be doing today. So I'm going to run through a couple things as far as your materials, okay, to get you started. Let's see. We asked for you to pick up an art journal. Now, I'm going to show you. This is a spiral bound journal that I got at my local Ace Hardware, Ben Franklin here in Hawaii. They also have kinds that have the bound notebook. And the thing about art journals are that the pages are thicker, so that you're going to be able to add some color and paint and markers and not worry about stuff bleeding through. So that's the important thing. So make sure and just go ahead and feel the pages, like noticing, oh, okay, does this feel like it's thick enough? Because just kind of noticing it for you if you picked up some other type of journal. And if not, really easy to fix. Just glue 2 pages together. And there you go. You automatically have kind of a thicker paper. This is another example of a Moleskine water journal or watercolor paper that I got, and it's using watercolor paper, which is thicker already. Your traditional Moleskine journals, if they're not the art kind, are going to be thinner paper. So again, just be careful to glue those pages together 2 at a time. Or another option you have is to gesso them. And if you're painting with this with wood, and then you've already noticed that's on your materials list, this is what it looks like. This was Liquitex. Here we go. Gesso. All different brands, but you just go ahead and take a paintbrush, paint right over your page, and that's going to keep it from bleeding through also. So another option for you. Now I want to show you a couple of the things that we're going to be working with during this using your art journal. First of all are some pens. Now I'm going to show you a couple. Your regular old Sharpie, she's great, fine point. But I also have a couple other things that you can play with if you find something like this that you want to use. One, this is a calligraphy writing tool, and I don't know calligraphy, but it's kind of fun to play around with it some. This is actually a ink brush. If you look, it's actually, you can see it's got a paintbrush like in front of my forehead. Haha. It's a paintbrush, but it disperses ink. So you can find something like that. Or another option is this one, which is Art and Graphic Twin, it says. And this is where it's got kind of like a Sharpie on one side, and the other side is a little bit of a thicker tool. So it makes it a little bit fatter. So those are some ideas to play with pens. You can have your traditional Crayola markers. I've got some colored pencils, crayons, so many options to play with, okay? So don't necessarily feel that you have to go out and buy lots of different things. If you have stuff lying around your house, this is a great place to play with that. One thing that I do want to mention is that I like to carry my stuff to make it easy. So it's not like when I'm going to work with my journal, it's like, okay, I have to set everything up. I have to go into my art room. It has to be perfect. No, 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 no. I like to create change and creativity, create the environment on the go. So I have, this is just a regular pencil case that I have some of my watercolor pencils in, some scissors, a glue stick, some of those thicker markers and things like that. Or you can also use something like this, a larger plasticky bag with things in there with a pen. So you can just grab this and your journal and you're ready to go. Okay. Another thing I'd like to use if you're going to do any sort of painting with it is to bring a spray bottle. Spray bottles are great. And I have also this wasn't on your materials list, so you don't need to get this, but if you happen to have like your kids, you know, watercolor set or an old watercolor set, you can use that. Or even like your paints, you can, if you have little teeny paint bottles, you can stick them inside there. So you have your to-go box, okay? Now today what we're gonna do is we are going to create the beginning of your art journal together. And I'm gonna show you how to get started on that. And then I'll show you some options. So during our 5 weeks together, during our initiation, that you'll be able to play and be able to really make the transformation stick more than if you were just taking notes or just writing things out. Shiloh and I, we are big believers in using right side and left side of your brain. So using word and using image to really cement things, cement that change. We're using all of our brain, my darlings. Okay, so you can, there are a couple different options. You can go ahead and you can take a magazine and you can go through, we're going to set your intention, but once we have your intention, you can take a magazine, go through and rip words out, images out, and glue them onto your journal so it looks something like this. Ta-da! Or if you want, if you have, if you don't even want to do the cover part of your journal, you can go ahead and then work on the inside of your journal. So for example, this is an image I have of Shiloh's work on the inside of this cover. And so you're wanting to go ahead and kind of make your mark on your journal as we're first getting started. So I want you with me just to get settled for a moment. Close your eyes. And I want you to put your hand on your heart and the other hand on your belly. And breathe in with me 3 times. And I want you to go to your heart. Dropping down to your heart. And as you're inhaling, imagine it filling up and pulsing with beautiful light. And standing in front of your heart, just feeling the warmth emanating from it. And I want you to ask, what is my intention? Why am I here? And I want you to wait for the answer. It might come an image and a word. It might come through a sound or a smell, or maybe it's not coming at all yet right now, and that's okay. When you're ready, opening your eyes, and I want you to take your pen, just a regular pen, and on the inside cover or on the cover of your journal, I want you to write some of your intention. If you want to continue writing, you can pause the video. But what I wrote is, my intention is to root deep. And so now I get to have the fun part of decorating the inside covers of my journal with that intention as far as rooting deep. So I'm going to have you go there, but before that, I want to show you a couple things that during our 5 weeks together that you can be using to tap into this creative side. Okay? Alrighty. Let's start off with some basics. Dun, 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 dun. Come down here with me to my lap, my darlings. Okay. So one thing we're going to work with is color. Lots of ways to put color on your page. You can use your markers, you can use crayons, you can use paint. I'm going to go ahead and start us off just to give you showing a little bit how easy it is. I'm going to take some of my Son's Crayola watercolor paper, or watercolor, and put it on. And this is leaving kind of a lighter color, as you can see. Or you can also take some of your acrylic paint. This is going to be some of the fluid paint that we recommended. Golden fluids. If you did not get fluid paint, do not worry about it. You can use heavy body paint. You just need to mix it with some water to make it the same consistency as the fluid paint. Boop. And same type of thing. I'm going to mix some with some water. And bam, add some color. So you can use your squirt bottle, move that paint around. And I want you to notice, so when you are doing this, if the paint like sucks up into the page really quickly, just noticing, this is like a great experiment as you're first starting off to notice if you're going to need to glue pages together for your journal or if it's going to be fine. Like this one, I know I need to glue 2 pages together to thicken it up a little bit. Okay? So adding color. The other thing is, and then I was taught this from Kat Geller, who does Smashbooking also through Cosmic Cowgirls. So if you haven't met her and her work, she is magic. She uses intentional creativity and journaling. But to go ahead and to, when you're going to do a page, don't just do one side of the page. Let yourself use this whole thing as your portal, as your entryway. It helps our brains kind of from thinking of like, this is this side of the book, this is this side of the book. Okay? So adding color. Super fun, right? Easy. You can also go ahead and then add in playing with, I want you to play with the way that you write. If you're taking notes or if there are things that you're writing in your journal, you can write in different ways. And I taught some of this in the Women Unleashed things. So if you've seen this, you know, but let's start off with how I would normally write. And I'm going to write sideways because I'm upside down here, my loves. So, word. Word, that's my normal writing. Now, Shiloh, she talks about actually extending and elongating the first and the last letter. Word, you can do cursive. You can do blocks. How can you play with how you write, okay? And this is a really fun thing to do when you are, sorry about that. Really fun thing to do when you are taking notes so that when you get to certain sections or important parts, you can use, you know, some coloring and some markers to play with the way that you write. The other thing that I love to do is to add design, okay? So either on the sides of the pages, around, you can doodle. Wow. Let yourself play. There's no thing, nothing at all that you can do wrong, my loves. Ta-da! And again, I like to kind of combine the pages, so I like to make sure things overlap over. You can use lines to decorate. Wow. And color in the lines. You can use shapes. Go a little cubism. You can add dots. So many options. Same with any symbols or images that you have. If you don't know how to draw something, wing it, okay? So, for example, you're like, okay, you have this information you got about wanting to connect to, you know, owls. Maybe you're really connected to owls like me. And you're like, okay, I'm going to draw an owl. Don't feel like, okay, I need to be able to draw an owl perfectly. I want you just to connect to the basic shape of something, okay? So for me, I know a basic shape of an owl. For me, I think of it has this round head, and then it goes down here at the bottom, kind of like an ice cream cone. It's got some wings, oh, probably bigger than that, and then some owl eyes. Owl. Woohoo. And then, doop. Owls. Oh, and a beak. Simple, right? So don't stop yourself if you're feeling like you can't draw it, okay? Go ahead and explore, play, go, you know? Flower, starting from the center and working out. Technique Shiloh has taught. Woo! Right? Hearts, wings. So what symbols, as we're working, are coming out? You might be getting information that you want to take notes on, you know, through the videos or, you know, through your inquiry, but also noticing what images are coming up, okay? And then showing, for example, you can also play with doodling in a fun way also, which is, for example, I'm going to take this heart. And then I'm going to go ahead and just kind of doodle inside the middle of it. So part of our journey together is connecting to our lineage and our legacy, right? This is an initiation. So consider this also an initiation in your creativity and exploring things in a different way than you're used to. Okay? And so I'm going to show you just a couple examples of things that I do with my journals. For example, when there's stuff coming up for me. I'm going to move this up here. I like to take the main message of what I'm learning and then to put it into my journal. So for example, this one is one that I'm using some color on it. I'm using some symbols of, you know, important messages I got. And then I'm also taking notes and images. Here's one that has a symbol and a main message for me. And I also used words all over to connect me to other small things. These is where same type of thing, but I actually added stuff in. I had a feather and I had some rose petal and some lavender that I actually just glued right into my journal. poetry, just words that are coming, putting them right on there. And what we're doing is we're playing with, let me see if I can find a better example, but one of the things we also like to do is to play with glow, which is what Shiloh teaches, and it's where you leave some space around the, let's see here, around the writing, around the subjects, that you're not filling the color all the way to the edge of something. Okay. Here's one that I was working on, and I have my person, and then if you can see the paint, if you look carefully at Live Without Regrets, might be a little bit hard to see, but the paint doesn't come all the way to the edge. So if I can find another one that does that. Here we go. This one I took notes on, and you can see that I put paint in, but I didn't paint all the way to the edge. I actually put the paint in after I did the writing. So that's a really fun way, and a really beautiful lesson as far as leaving space in your life. Leaving space for information to come, for you to be able to tune inwards, that you don't have to fill everything up to the edge, that we want to leave room for receiving. Okay, so leaving your glow. And then the last little bit as far as, your journal and what you want to add to it is have fun. If you want to add yarn, string, if you have old cards that you love that you want to chop up and glue inside them, if you have glitter, yes, glitter, adding glue and glitter to them, and taking parts of pages and collaging them in. Showing you a couple examples here of, this is one using magazine, word, and paint. Let's see here. This is one using words, but in different ways. And this one is using image and word and leaving glow. So, as we journey together, imagine your journal as your sacred container, as your space that's going to hold your journey together. And see how you can play with your journal through word and image to expand, expand, expand. Sending much aloha, and we'll be seeing you in the course. Big aloha from me, big yeehaw, howdy doody from my love Shiloh, and bye now.